A show based on the facts, honesty, the man, the myth, the legend, ChristiTutionalist, Joseph M. Leonard.
Welcome to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP, in association with TheLibertyBeacon.com, and I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's Leonard. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show! Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode. I can't talk. Episode. I can't wait to see how the AI transcription service fumbles with that verbiage. Another episode of ChristiTutionalist Politics. Joining me today is Bob Moog, not to be confused with, if you remember a few months ago, Robert the Boogeyman Boog, who we talked about controversies about Shakespeare all these centuries later, not Robert B-O-O-G, Bob B-O-B Moog, M-O-O-G. And he is one of the most recognizable people in the toy and game industry. He is the founder of University Games, the largest independent game and puzzle company in the U.S. Top products from the company include Smart Ass Game, Murder Mystery Party Games, children games featuring Dogman, Pete the Cat, Eric Carl, and Richard Scarry. But I mainly have him here today to discuss this. For those of you looking at behind the scenes, you can see me holding up the box of the game called Am I the Ass? The game, and I will hold really close to the camera, move my finger so you could maybe get the QR code to see their video about the game. But before I ask Bob anything and ask him to go into the game, I'm not sure if we need an NC-17 on this episode, but it definitely needs at least a PG-13. So get the kids out of the room for this one. It's gonna be an interesting ride as we discuss this. Am I the game, as I am holding up. Also, by way of a joke, I've seen Bob's picture before today. So behind the scenes, you can see both of our heads, which is why I'm wearing, for the benefit of the audio only shows, and the transcript, my shirt with a body like this. Who needs hair? Welcome to the show, Bob. How are you? Bet you weren't expecting an intro like that, huh?
I've never had an intro saying, let's brag about our baldness. This is the first time. But I love it, Joseph. I love it.
You know, I like to try to keep a sense of humor, right? Things are so serious, we need to keep a sense of humor. So while this is a very serious Christian show most of the time, we've got to keep a sense of humor. And now with that warning out of the way, I want to hold it up again because I coined the term several years ago, massholes, for the masses of asses out there. So hashtag massholes for this episode. And indeed, are you one of the masses of asses out there? We're going to delve into that today. And I am rushing this show to air February 5th because I want you to go to Amazon and pick up this game for Valentine's night. While the game says from 2 to 5 players, I suggest you get together as couples and play as couples 2 to 5 couples Valentine's night. Now, with that setup, why don't we do the usual first thing, though, first, Bob? Where were you born and raised and all that, right? Cue the Who song. Who are you? Who?
I love that song. The Who's my favorite band. That's great. I saw them in 1972 when they were on their Quadrophenia tour at the arena in St. Louis, Missouri, where I grew up. And
interesting. So you're from the state of Missouri. Missouri.
I'm from the state of Missouri, and I am a fourth generation Missourian, and went to public school there at Clayton High School. And I was a Greyhound, the Clayton Greyhounds. And I then moved for college out to California and have been living here ever since. But my roots are in Missouri and in the Midwest.
Well, then the obvious next question before we get into the game has got to be, how far are you from the fires?
I am 320 miles from the fires, so I'm in good shape. I'm in San Francisco. My house is safe. My family is safe. I do have friends in Los Angeles, and it's nasty down there. But, every part of the country gets something. There's hurricanes, there's tornadoes, everybody gets something. So this is a tragedy, and it's really sad. It's far from me, but, they will rebuild once this all gets done, just like they do in Florida when they have the hurricanes.
Okay, without further ado, tell us the premise of Am I the Ass? TM, the game.
Okay. So when you invent board games, there's different categories, and we're really, really known for doing preschool games and party games. And we've done many party games over the years, including games like Smartass and games like Worst Case Scenario for survival. And we were the originators of murder mystery parties. But about a year and a half ago, someone in our company said, have you seen this trend online of people posting situations where they may have behaved badly and asking the question, am I the ass or am I the asshole? And then having other people who they don't know just crowdsource responses and create a dialogue. And I said, no, I've never seen that. Let me look into it. And we found out that on Reddit and on Facebook, there's millions of people. The numbers are close to 30 million people who participate in writing and reading these situations and giving their desktop psychiatrist, responses to whether someone is or isn't an asshole. And we thought, what if we could make this a take-it-home version? And so we decided to figure out a way to do it so that everybody in the country, with a computer without, could play the game.
Yeah, there's the tokens behind the scenes that you win if you get an answer right. I don't want to go into a bunch of questions, but I did look at the first one, so I will mention that. But before we do that, my audience knows I can never pass on the lame puns. So to go along with massholes, the hashtag, here's something else you can use too. A couple things. One, the saying, your mileage may vary. Well, since we're kind of dealing with morality here, I coined for your game, regional morality may vary.
That's good. No, I think
good?
That's great, Joseph. Yeah, because there can be a question here where somebody from New York would say, not only is this appropriate for a 12-year-old, I want my 12-year-old to know about condoms. And then someone in a different part of the country might say, that's totally inappropriate for 12-year-olds.
Especially the Bible Belt.
Right. Especially
to tie it with this show, obviously. Right. So, yeah, that's why I also suggest maybe you do regional versions of the game. Am I the ass? The Bible Belt. Am I the ass? Midwest or Western states or liberals or conservatives. That way you know that the survey questions are from what group. Yeah. So you can, because the point is you are to guess what indeed the average person out there says, kind of like Family Feud, right?
Yes.
Survey says.
Right. That's exactly right. The way the game plays, it's important for people to know how the game plays. The way the game plays is each player gets an assometer, and the assometer is an arrow on a card. Yeah, you're holding it out, and you choose whether 25%, 50%, 75%, or 100% of the people who we surveyed, like Family Feud, said that this person was an asshole. And the way you win the game is by correctly guessing what our survey said was the right answer, not what you think is the right answer. And our survey was a national survey with people, urban and rural, conservative and liberal, old and young, men and women. It's a cross section of 500 Americans. And
so it could fall anywhere.
Right. So it could fall anywhere. So there are some where I've done the cards and we read them, and the person is a 25-year-old woman and she has the opposite answer of a 45-year-old man. They just see the world through different eyes. So it invites great conversation, and the conversation is really what makes this a incredibly great game. Am I the ass? Not about being right or wrong. It's about having the conversation afterwards.
Right. And it's why I suggest people rush to Amazon, buy a copy, and play as 2 to 5 couples on Valentine's evening. You're going to have trouble getting in somewhere to eat anyway. Spend $24.99 instead for Am I the Ass the Game? Order a pizza, and you'll get a hell of a lot more fun, and you'll learn more about your potential spouse than perhaps you ever really wanted to know or thought you might know in the process. That's why I suggest, 2, 3, 4 couples can get together for this on Valentine's. That's why I'm rushing this episode out before Valentine's Day.
Joseph, I'd love to read you one that proves the point you just made.
I want to read.
You read yours first.
The top one. Now,
okay.
See, the meters at the bottom. I don't want to give away the answer. You're supposed to take out the card and put it in the Am I the Ass the Game holder, so that it sits on the table and everybody can read it back after the initial person reads it. I don't want to read this whole thing. I just want to say, because I was at Frank's Pizza the other day, hey, Buttons, talking to her about the game, and her and her boyfriend, and just so happens the first card deals with eloping. And her and her boyfriend are like, whoa, we got to play this game. I'm giving a copy to her next weekend when I see her at Frank's Pizza.
Well, Button will be excited to get that.
Yeah, Buttons, FYI. We call her Buttons because, like TGI Fridays, they wear all the different buttons. So she's the only one there that wears a bunch of different buttons, and we've donated her a couple of different buttons.
That's wonderful.
So I just call her Buttons.
That's great.
At any rate, but the elope question to me is perfect in this. Well, that answer might be way different in Vegas.
Right.
than it would be Michigan or Tennessee or Georgia.
Right.
So how do you guess?
Behavior that makes you an ass in Georgia may not make you an ass in Las Vegas. It might be okay in Las Vegas. Would you like me to read one and you can guess what our survey said? Is that okay? Do you feel like doing that?
Sure, if you want to do that. I don't want to give away a bunch of the cards.
No. But we'll just read one or two. So that gives people a sense of it. And this is one where men and women might answer very differently. Am I the ass for wanting to look at my husband's computer and browsing history? My husband, 39-year-old male, has started staying up late, claiming he's doing work on his computer instead of coming to bed with me. When I tried to log in yesterday, I found he'd changed the password without telling me. My friend, who works in IT, offered to install spyware to capture his keystrokes and get the new password. I know it's deceitful, but something feels off. So am I the asshole? Am I the ass for wanting to look at my husband's computer and browsing history? What do you think the people said? Do you think 25%, 50%, 75%, or 100% said you are an ass?
As a former IT guy, and as someone who is, while still wearing my wedding ring, still can't talk, still wearing my wedding ring, but a divorcee, issues really because of health and all that, but still love my ex-wife to death. We just could never live under the same roof together anymore, right? You've got to be honest with each other, or your foundation of your marriage is shit. So I would say that's a low end. No, why is he keeping secrets?
Right. So the survey said you have to trust the husband, and so 100% said if she was to put spyware on his computer, she would be an ass for doing that because she has to trust him. If you don't trust him, then you don't have a relationship. So it's sort of the same thing you were saying, but they came out with a different solution.
Yeah, I could see that answer, that other end, because now he's being deceitful. She, rather than confronting him to have an conversation, is being an ass, according to
also
the
being
survey.
deceitful.
By
It doesn't
being
mean
deceitful, yes.
It doesn't mean that he's not an ass. When you play this game, sometimes both people are, but we're just asking the survey group to pick the person, who's the in the first person on this.
I absolutely love this game.
Let me give you one more. We won't do the whole box. There's 200 in the game. Let me give you this next one just because it shows the breadth of the kinds of material that we cover.
And people who are viewing the show or listening now have a cheat. They're kind of an ass because they're cheating. They know the answer. That's why I didn't want to go into these.
I know. We're only going to do a couple.
Well, let's do the question, but let's not give the answer.
Okay. Am I the ass for asking to split the bill after deciding that I was no longer interested on a date? I asked a girl out on a date, and we had a good time. But as the night went on, I decided I wasn't interested in pursuing anything further. She ordered several drinks, which I didn't mind at first. By the end of the night, I felt it was a bit much. When the bill came, I asked to split it with her. She looked surprised and didn't offer to pay her half, which made me wonder if I was being rude. So we won't say the answer, but is this person an ass for a male going out with a woman? Is he an ass for asking her to split the bill?
These, without getting into my answer, these are absolute societal norm situations now people are needing to deal with. And it's great for maybe there should also be an MIAS older folks version, right? But I could see all kinds of different subversions of this. And indeed, those discussions, older people to then understand the younger generation and the younger generation understanding the actual morals that used to exist and seem to have completely gone out with the baby and the bathwater out the window these days.
I mean, I have said this mockingly or jokingly, but maybe there's some truth to it, that if the whole country would spend less time dealing with all the conflicts that everyone has and all the emotion and just play Am I the Ass, we would have a much happier, better adjusted country because people would be able to talk through their differences without taking it personally. They would be able to talk about it in terms of the survey group instead of what they think. And so maybe that's what will happen. We'll start getting Am I the Ass versions into Congress. We'll start getting it into churches and temples. We'll start getting it into schools, and everyone will use it as a conversation piece.
Constitutionalist politics. I absolutely, positively got to see a morality version for the morons on Capitol Hill. They're definitely, they are definitely asses. Congressional version.
Right.
Completely rename it. Not even a question. They are a bunch of asses. But to back up, again, only $24.99 at Amazon, right? Probably. Do you sell it direct at universitygames.com?
No, we have another website that's a sister company called areyougame.com, AREYOUGAME.com, RUGame. And they sell all of the University Games products, including Am I the Ass? And it's really easy to get to. They also will ship same day.
Yeah, order it. Again, I'm dropping this on the 5th. You can have it by the 6th. And the
Plenty
other
of time
thing
for Valentine's Day. Plenty of time.
Yeah, and the other thing too, I had forgotten the other joke I was going to add, and also you can exactly see why I immediately came up with regional morality may vary. I expect to see that on a future box, free of charge. My gift to you,
That's
as
fantastic.
well as if you want to use my hashtag massholes.
Okay.
But the other joke I was going to say, do you remember Sir Mix-a-Lot?
Sure.
Right? I like big. He's got to be your spokesperson and do a parody of I like major asses and I cannot lie, right? I can see the commercial now.
That's funny. Sir Mix-a-Lot. I had forgotten all about him.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Joseph M. Leonard, host of ChristiTutionalist, taking a brief moment to thank myarchic.com. Together we share the Christian and family value of honoring family. myarchic.com helps you do that. Preserving family memories online also, therefore, can be shared online. Think of myarchic like a Noah's Ark for images, audio, video, preserving, honoring your family. Thank you again to the folks over at myarchic.com.
Yeah, so we had a Who mention and a Sir Mix-a-Lot mention.
That's good.
Like I say, I never script my shows, never know what rabbit hole's going to open up. You mentioned you like the Who. So since we're talking music, who else are some of your favorite artists?
Well, the Who has always been my favorite band, but I'm a big Springsteen fan, which most people are. I really like Van Morrison.
Who's working with Elvis at the local Burger King here in Kalamazoo, according to some still. Yeah,
I think so. I like a lot of bands. I liked the Cars when they were active. I listened to a lot of Rolling Stones. I'm a Billy Joel fan. I kind of like, old rock and roll is what I like. And that's what I listen to.
Okay.
I went to see the Dylan movie. Have you seen the Dylan movie?
No, I am not a Dylan fan. I have absolutely zero. I am a big movie buff, so I see movies all the time. And of course, for ChristiTutionalist Politics podcast, I had to see the piece of crap Conclave movie.
Yeah.
And it is exactly what I was expecting.
Yeah.
A complete attack on Christianity, mainly the Catholic Church, but Dan Brown's movies and books, I had no problem with, because he actually brought people to Christ and the Bible. You know, what of this is fact and what of it is fiction? He actually brought people to Christ, and Conclave, in my opinion, I give it a D minus, is all about attacking Christianity again. And one of the reasons why I felt called to create this show, obviously, to defend the whole Bible in full context, not the twists and distortions. But so, hey, we covered music and movies too. A couple of my favorite topics that, again, you know, probably not going to get this on any other show that talks to you, right?
I don't think so. Not any others that I've ever done. I went to a concert in Hyde Park in London, which was, I think, the best concert I ever saw. It was Neil Young, and
another one I'm not a fan of.
yeah. Well, 2 hours in, he's playing the Beatles song, End of Your Life or whatever, and Paul McCartney walks out on stage and plays with him, and that was pretty cool.
Day in the Life.
Day in the Life, yeah. Sorry, Day in the Life.
I do like the Beatles. I did like the Beatles. My dad, Ted Leonard Jr., founder of Ted Leonard Jr. and the Polka Kings. So growing up, musical family, country, polka, pop, rock, heavy metal. I'm into everything because of my father, you know, and his musical nature. So, and I pride myself in having a very different kind of show. So people learning about you more maybe than you'd even like, right?
It's fine. I'm an open book. So as long as they play games and enjoy what we're doing.
Oh, no, you're not an open book. You're a well laid out game board.
That's good, Joseph.
Bum.
Yeah.
At any rate, so like I said in the email, I usually do 30-minute shows. I think we'll probably go closer to a full hour here. I mean, let's talk about Smartass.
Okay,
and some of the other games. I know you brought props, so let's show a few of those and talk about those.
Well, Smartass, this is what the box looks like. This is available at Target and on Amazon and a lot of other places. It's a game that we started. It's 2025 now. We started it 15 years ago, and the idea of the game was, what if you had a game where every player knew the answer to every question, but the trick was to see who could get to the question first? And so I thought about this for a couple of years. I said, Trivial Pursuit's great, but a lot of people are intimidated by it. And also, there's always that one guy who's the smartass who knows all the answers. And that makes it not fun for other people. So how about if we could come up with a game where it was more about how fast you could come up with the answer than knowing the answer? And we created this game called Smartass. And the way it works is there are 8 clues describing a well-known person, place, or thing. And everybody playing will know the answer. You will have heard of Elvis Presley, or you will have heard of Chicago or Kalamazoo. But the trick is, based on the clues, who can yell it out first? And what we found is we have this fantastic game that's really accessible to people of all ages and all backgrounds, because we've made the answers so universal. And so I'm going to give you one right now.
Okay, well, before we do that, I can't resist.
Yeah.
It's like, here's my question, because again, I love this premise, but my question has got to be, why are you so weird to come up with these things?
Okay, that's a good question. So I will tell you, I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, as we talked about earlier. I'm the oldest of 5 kids. And growing up, my parents both worked. They were gone a lot. So I needed to find ways to entertain the little kids. And what I did is I would come up with card games and different kinds of games that a 5-year-old could play, a 6-year-old could play, a 9-year-old could play, and an 11-year-old could play.
Not bore the crap out of the 11-year-old at the
Right.
same time. Yeah.
Right. And what I learned is that a good game has a mixture of luck and skill. If it's all skill, the older child will always win. If it's all luck, the older child doesn't care. So I learned that as a kid, like when I was, 10 to 15 years old. And then when I went to college, I started a thing, a trivia bowl, where I wrote and collected thousands of questions. And it was like the old college bowl quiz that used to be on when I was a kid. And basically there would be 2 teams of 4, and I moderated, and I would ask questions. And I went to school at Stanford, and this was like the only activity that the students and the faculty and the staff all participated in that was fun. Everything else was academic, or drinking or something else. And so I did it, and I found that people loved it, and we were able to fill auditoriums. And that's how I got so weird, is starting when I was 10, 11 years old, inventing games. It's in my genes now, I'm a game inventor.
Okay, now you were going to get it as an example from the Smartass game. Let's go ahead.
So the Smartass game, the way it would normally play is we would have a group of 4 to 6 people, and I would say, I am a person. I could be living or dead, real or fictional, male or female. And I also could be a group, like the Beatles would be under person, okay? So here we go. And you just yell out the answer when you think you know it. You only get one guess, but you can yell it after one clue or after all 8 clues. I am best known as a singer. I became famous for knowing my ABCs.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. You got it after 2 clues. That's fantastic.
Go ahead and give the rest of the clues now that I spoiled it.
They get easier as you go. My pop group got its start at Motown. I have 5 brothers, and the oldest is Jermaine. My nickname was the King of Pop. I was known for moonwalking. I created a thriller in 1982. Who am I, with the initials MJ?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, obviously, you couldn't have picked a better setup question to make me look good, because, of course, I'm in Detroit.
Right.
Motown.
So you're going to know that one. All right. You want to try one more? This one is a what? What am I?
Oh, yeah. Show me. Choose one that'll make me look stupid.
Okay. Hopefully this will make you look stupid, Joseph. But if it doesn't, I apologize. What am I? I'm a thing. There are infinite ways I can be put together. Some say I was invented by British royalty. You might bring me to school.
A rector set?
No, I am often around at lunchtime. You need bread to have me.
Oh, a sandwich. Okay.
Sandwich.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Isn't that
No,
good?
I got over eager, over anxious, and indeed I made an ass of myself, right?
Tried to be a smartass.
Yeah.
All right. So we have where am I, what am I, and who am I? And when you play the game, there's a game board that comes with the game. And the goal is to be the person who is the smartass by winning the game. And you get to move forward based on the roll of a die when you answer correctly.
Oh, okay. So it's not tokens like the am I the smartass? Am I the ass? Okay.
There's the am I the ass and smartass. And smartass is sold all over the place. It's in Target. It's in Meijer stores. You're in Michigan. It would be in Meijer. It would be on Amazon. It's at rugame.com, which is our sister company. It's at Barnes & Noble. You can go pretty much anywhere and get Smartass because it's been out for a long time, and it's kind of a perennial now. We sell over 300,000 copies a year of Smartass. It's a bestseller.
Yeah. And I don't remember now, but there used to be a computer game called You Don't Know Jack.
Yes, I remember that.
For some reason, that's kind of making a connection with me here. And being an IT guy, I love games on the computers as opposed to necessarily the board itself or whatever. Because, like, I took the categories game. Do you remember that?
Absolutely.
You had the die. It only had, what, 5 or 6 consonants on it? I computerized it and added additional consonants so you could play that game a whole lot longer, because otherwise you run out of words.
Right. Absolutely. I understand. You're exactly right. The reason computer games are great, and there's nothing wrong with them, and they sell great. What we're trying to do at University Games is create social interactive experiences where people are talking to each other and getting to know each other better. So they're both really great, but we're trying to do something that's more interpersonal with our business.
Which is perfect, as discussed on this show, you know, right? Hold up the phone, kids in the phone, only on the phone. How about you actually engage with real bleeping people for a change?
Right. One of the biggest things that we talk about at University Games is having people talk to each other versus emailing and texting. And it's amazing in a business with, we have, I think, 20 people, 15 people here in San Francisco. People will be sitting within 10 yards of each other, and instead of getting up and talking to each other, they'll text each other. And I say to them, go talk to each other. You need to develop that.
IT guy. So I and get an email, I'd walk over to the cubicle. How about we actually have a discussion?
Right. Exactly. No, it's important. And as with Gen Z and now Alpha, they're growing up as digital natives. They're growing up they think about a computer the way I think about a comb, or I used to when I had hair. And I would always carry a comb in my pocket. Yeah. And that's how they are. It's just part of them. And that means that they're spending more waking hours not interacting with people, but just interacting with a machine than any prior generation. So we're trying to counter that a little bit by making it so fun and so different than texting that people will want to do it.
Yeah, now obviously certain things should be put in an email, so there's a record of it. But yeah, the art of conversation is lost. The art of language lost, because I gave the hashtag earlier, right? Mass holes. We're inventing words. We're shortening words. YOLO. We're abbreviating everything. And half the time, another part of the segment of society is like, what the bleep is that mean? Right.
There's so many acronyms being used that they've lost their definition. And someone said to me the other day, yeah, I'll ping you on that. Well, what as an IT guy, the derivation of ping goes back to a UNIVAC machine sending out a message to another computer to receive it so that they could connect with each other. And now people use it for phone calls or emails. I actually don't know what they meant when they were going to ping me in terms of how they were going to communicate with me.
One of the first mainframes I worked on, operated, was a UNIVAC 6040. You literally had the hard drives that would screw in and out. The card reader with all the cards, get one card out of place. Right. Whoa, are you bleeped?
Right. And you would ping other computers with that, wouldn't you? That's where the term ping comes from. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, no, it did not come from the, you know what? Actually, it might have been, now that I think about it, derived from ping pong, because you get a ping, right, pinging each other to make sure you're visible to one another, to make sure you get that connection. And of course, the old days, I'm reaching over to grab my landline phone that I still have.
Good.
You know, the old days where my desktop computer with the built-in modem would connect to the phone line and
Right.
dial up your computer so that you could get the squawk sound and actually talk computer to
Right.
computer. Well, we're way off the beaten path here now.
Well, the point is, since the world has gone that way, we feel it's more important for us to create good games and also have people ask themselves the question, am I the ass? Back to where we started.
Yeah. All right. You've got another prop with you, I take it. Another game you could hold up?
Yeah, I've got another one around here somewhere. Just a second. I have a kids game, I think. Well, no, I'm going to do an adult game. I'm not going to do a kids game. This is called Judge Your Friends.
Oh, I love it already.
And it actually has
Matthew 7, judge not lest ye be judged, which there are more than those 7 words. Remove the log from your own eye. 12 other scriptures at least that tell you you are to judge people. Just that final judgment is for the Lord. It's really condemn not lest ye be condemned. So a Christian show, I absolutely love that game already, and you've not even said anything about it yet.
Well, Judge Your Friends is a game where one player is the judge and actually gets a gavel. There's a gavel in the game, and every player playing gets guilty and not guilty cards. And the way you play the game is you are asked a question about something you may or may not have done in your life, and you have to say, I did it or I didn't do it. And then the other players judge whether they think you're being truthful.
Ooh,
okay.
Wow, that could get some people in a lot of trouble.
Right. So here's an example of one. The defendant, we do it all in legal terms, has gotten drunk with their parents. And so it depends on what age you're playing with. If you're playing with a 12 or 13, someone under 21, it's a little bit of a different thing. And you have to say whether you're guilty or not guilty. And then the judge, any player can take the gavel and say, I disagree. And then you have to fess up if you're lying or not.
You know what? This brings to mind an actual board game version of kind of the Never Have I Ever.
Yes, the Never Have I Ever is something people play, but what's different in this game is that you've got a judge who and you're keeping score, and when you let me see if I can open this. When you actually do the judging, you have this: guilty, not guilty. So the player who's asked the question takes one of these and puts them face down, and then the other players vote on whether they think that they're guilty or not guilty, and then the judge says whether they're telling the truth or not.
Uh-huh. Well, now that game has a whole other set of connotation, though. If you're playing with a liar, are they lying about lying, or
right? It can become its own rabbit hole, and you can go down it.
Oh, thank you.
So those are our big 3 for 2025. Those 3 games.
That's great. That's great. But again, really, when I learned of you and learned of Am I the Ass and saw the premise and thought to myself, oh my God, this is great for couples for Valentine's Day. Why I had to have you on ASAP and rushing the show out to make sure it drops Wednesday, February the 5th. And the week after that will be we'll look at my calendar.
Valentine's Day.
Can't do the math. 7 days later would be Wednesday the 12th. There will be Valentine's episode that was actually recorded with somebody last summer.
Wow.
So there's going to be like both ends of the spectrum. you and I are recording, and it's going to like drop a couple days later. And with Ilya for Valentine's Day proper week episode,
Wow.
I recorded it last summer. So
Well, I feel really honored that you're rushing me for Valentine's Day. I appreciate that. It certainly will help us. And I want to remind people that they can get Am I the Ass, Judge Your Friends, and Smartass on Amazon.com or at rugame.com if they'd like to buy them. And they have plenty of time from when this is airing till Valentine's Day. We timed it perfectly, Joseph.
Absolutely. I'm so glad we stumbled upon each other when we did. It's like I say, and some people might think I'm being ridiculous with this, but with a Christian show, it's as if almost divine intervention on some of the guests that land up in my lap just in time for an episode like, wow, was that perfect timing?
Well, it's great. The work you're doing is great, and the world does need this podcast, so it's great that you're doing it.
Well, I greatly appreciate you again, Bob, B-O-B, Moog, M-O-O-G, again, not to be confused with Robert the Boogeyman Boog, B-O-O-G, that was talking Shakespeare a couple of months ago. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And I'm happy if you want to in 6 months or a year to do this again. And I can tell you what new games we have.
Sounds good. I definitely would love a follow-up episode.
Great. Thank you very much. And hope everyone has a wonderful Valentine's Day next week.
Yes. Take care. God bless all.
Thank you for having tuned in for ChristiTutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you, or autographed copies are available online direct from me via terrorstrikes.info/shop. Be sure to check out more about today's discussion at thelibertybeacon.com, where my articles drop every Saturday. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come, but for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.
Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM is your conservative flamethrower. Weekdays, Steve Gruber starts things off at 6 a.m. Gruber gives his perspective on the issues of the day. At 9 a.m., Glenn Beck blazes the airwaves with his nationally syndicated program. From noon to 3, it's Dennis Prager. At 3 o'clock, it's Wham's own Thayrone X. On the Edge, Thayrone tells it exactly as he sees it. At 6, it's The Dana Show, your conservative alternative. At 8, don't miss Joe Pags. Weekends are filled with conservative talk as well. Fingers Malloy, Thomas LeDuc, The Abolitionists Roundtable, A Moment of Clarity with Pastor Rick, Your American Heritage with Ed Bondarenka, Dave Janda's Operation Freedom, and Dick Kupke's Trigger Talk. You can even get links to Wham podcasts from Dave, Dick, and of course Thayrone, all from their pages on our website, whamradio.com. Keep it locked on Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM in southeastern Michigan, and whamradio.com anywhere in the world.